We live. What parts of New Jersey we got in here? What parts of Jersey we got in here? Nas, what up? Jack, what up? Danny, what up? Jamil, what up? EO, shouts to Dodgetown, man. I was just over there. I was over there last week. Got Essex County in here, South Jersey. Where about in South? Where about in South Jersey? Appreciate y'all tapping in. It's been several weeks since we did our last Hoop Recruit Radio, but appreciate y'all tapping in. We got a goodie on our hands this evening. Very in demand and highly requested interview. Neptune, shouts to Neptune, Monmouth County. Shouts to Sicklerville. Tim Lang, what up? Yeah, facts. I do got to get to a Marlboro game. East Brunswick, what up? We got Plainfield in here. Chicago, shouts to Chirac. Lakewood, Essex County. I'm from Essex County. Nothing but love for Essex County. But I'll tell y'all what. I'm gonna go ahead and tap my co-host in. Last thing we want is to keep. Mike,
There we are.
what's going on? It's been a while. What's going on?
Has.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Not too bad. I was just mentioning before you hopped on. We've got a goodie on our hands. A highly requested, highly in demand content / interview. So definitely looking forward to the next 15, 20, 30 minutes, however long it goes. But again, it's been a while. How are you? What's new with you?
Uh, School.
Algebra.
It has. It's definitely been a long time, and I think we got some really good timing with this Ben Roy interview after last night's commitment to Boston University.
Absolutely. Yeah, I was just thinking about it before I hopped on the live, just kind of how all the dots got connected. Ben had posted a cryptic story on his profile yesterday around like 5:30, and it simply said 7 p.m. And coincidentally, about 30 minutes later, I get a text from you saying that you had some pretty big news. Fast forward 24 hours later, and we're here for the Ben Roy interview. So super excited. Again, Ben's somebody that I think both you and I have had the opportunity to watch over the years. Obviously, both on the Hoop Recruit platform, but also on the court. So definitely looking forward to this interview.
Yeah, I mean, just watching Ben and seeing his game is incredible to think that no high majors. We saw it in the comments after we made that post when he committed. We saw something that said he's going to transfer, something saying high major should be coming after him. And Boston University gets a steal in Ben Roy, definitely.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if you ask me, I think it's a great situation for him. A little background on BU. I've got a bit of an affinity for BU myself. My cousin had actually graduated from BU several years ago, and I had the opportunity to attend the commencement. And then more recently, there was actually, I believe there were a couple of Jersey guys that have played for BU over the last several years. So there's a bit of a pipeline. But yeah, I mean, just to kind of, I guess, nip the rumors and or misinformation out there in the bud, like there was no shortage of high major interest with Ben Roy, in my opinion. I think more so what we're looking at is a kid who's aligning himself with a situation that's ultimately going to give him an opportunity to, perform at his full potential. Could he play high major? Absolutely. Could he play mid major? Absolutely. But in my opinion, and we'll get some more information from him when we go through the interview. But in my mind, in my basketball mind, when I saw him select BU, I just saw opportunity and fit. So, but yeah, I mean, to your point, that's the whole point of the interview. We want to dig into the detail, hear it straight from the horse's mouth. So I'll tell you what, without any further ado, let me see if we have our guest of honor in the lobby. And while I'm looking that up, you may have saw my profile earlier today, but fall ball is back in motion. And if you're from New Jersey or the tri-state area, you know exactly what that means. I made a comment on my Instagram live last night that, basketball is very much a year-round sport in New Jersey. And I think fall ball is definitely a prime example of that. But yeah, good to see the school's back open. Basketball's back in, back in the swing of things. This time last year, the majority of the leagues were taking place outdoor. We're back indoor for the most part. So again, good to see the game rolling along again. But without any further ado, let me go ahead and get the guest of honor. And before I introduce him, he's again somebody I've had the opportunity to watch for several years. Goes by a variety of names. More recently, Benny Boston. The boy, Benjamin Buckets, formerly Ben Roy. Ben, appreciate you taking some time out to connect with us. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
Absolutely. Congratulations on the commitment, by the way.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Definitely looking forward to your journey, not only, your last year at Manasquan, but also, as you take your talents to that next level. I actually went to school in Massachusetts myself, not in Boston, more Western Massachusetts. So I've got an appreciation for as much of a Jersey guy as I am. I've got a really strong affinity and appreciation for the New England area.
Absolutely.
But before you got on, I was just telling Michael that I wanted to be mindful of your time, your schedule, and it's one thing to talk about rumors. It's another thing to kind of hear it straight from the horse's mouth. So we'll get into the BU decision and Manasquan, your background, who you are, etc. But I guess before we do that, just some background on Ben. Again, many of you have probably seen him on my page over the years, but for those who have just begun to familiarize themselves with Ben, soon to be a 4-year varsity letter player at Manasquan, more recently named the Shore Conference Player of the Year, led Manasquan to an undefeated 2021 season. Over the course of your 3 years in high school, you've had a cumulative record of 72-5, including 43-1 over the past 2 years. I think I was at that one game where you guys lost, but that was a really good game. So I wouldn't even look at it as a loss. But you went to your senior year with close to 1,200 points. Going into your junior year, I would argue you were on pace, assuming we had a full season and county playoffs and state tournament. I believe you were on pace to be a 2,000-point scorer, but obviously, COVID threw some wrinkles in that. Nevertheless, as it stands, I believe you're on pace to be Manasquan's all-time leading scorer. I believe you're about 500 points, give or take, away from achieving that milestone. So, that's kind of how I understand, Ben Roy. But in your own words, who is Ben Roy?
I'm just a kid from a small town who loves to play basketball. I've had a love for the game ever since I could remember. And I live in a community where, people support me. But, people are also jealous. So, I kind of learned how to deal with both sides of it. And, I feel like I'm just a pretty well-rounded guy. Obviously, I can play a little bit of basketball, but I enjoy school. I enjoy spending time with friends. I'm a normal kid who just loves to, just to shoot hoops.
Absolutely.
And Ben, now you get that weight off your shoulders of making your college commitment. You gave your background. We'll start to get a little more into last night's choice. Why did you end up choosing Boston University?
I mean, with me, it just kind of comes down to relationships. That's the thing I kind of value the most in my life, not only just in basketball. So just kind of the connection I had with the staff and, even the players. I just, those are my kind of guys. People that I want to, even for my parents, they were like, those are people we want to send our kid off to. Just quality people. So when it came down to the decision, I was like, who am I going to have the best relationship with on and off the court? And I felt that Boston U was that spot.
Absolutely. And along those lines of relationships, Ben, I want to say the first something that stood out to me at my first Manasquan home game, and you had come in, you dapped me up before the game and all that, but I was kind of watching from afar. And along the lines of relationships, one thing I noticed with you was you knew everybody in the gym, knew who you were, from the kids who were your age to the middle-aged people that were 30, 40 years removed from going to Manasquan High School. So along those lines, what, what can you speak to the significance of Manasquan? Like, what does Manasquan mean to you?
It means a lot. I mean, it's always going to be home. Like I said, I mean, a lot of people in this, it's a small community. Everyone kind of knows who everyone is. So when you have a person who, does something with passion or, is really, passionate about something, people get behind that. So, little kids, as long as I could be a role model, that's big for me too. I know little kids are looking to follow my footsteps, so I gotta be on my A game at all times. It's great. It's really like a family, like you said, there's people who just, not only come to enjoy watching me play, but they enjoy watching Manasquan play. We've been pretty successful over the past couple of years. So people get behind that, but it's just, I think people don't really see like how close everyone actually is. Everyone actually, knows everyone on a personal level. So yeah.
Nice.
And Ben, when last night when we made the post, we said Manasquan legend. You kind of turned Manasquan into a New Jersey power, top 5 ranking in the state. How good does it feel to put Manasquan on the map basketball wise?
It feels great. I mean, coming in as a freshman, I wasn't sure of what it was going to look like, a lot of uncertainty. And I'm so happy that I was able to put my home on the map, but I couldn't have done it without, my teammates, my coaches. I feel like they kind of get overlooked sometimes, and it's a little unfair because, especially my sophomore and junior year, I mean, we had some talent, it wasn't just me out there. So, without those guys, I wouldn't have been able to do it. So, but it's great. I mean, I love how people are like, oh, we don't want to play Manasquan. No, we're good. Like, so that feels good to me, and I know it feels good to my teammates too.
Totally. And I actually had the opportunity to attend a couple of those out of conference games that you guys had where you held it down at home. But, when I look at, I guess, your game over the past few years, like your sophomore year was kind of like your coming out party, in my opinion, on like a varsity level.
Yeah.
Last year, you kind of cemented that. Again, you guys kind of had the perfect season. You had, you, Jack Collins, others who played big minutes. Going into your senior year, assuming, we'll have the Tournament of Champions, the official, county tournament. What, if anything, is your goal or mission going into your senior year?
Well, I feel like once you kind of establish something, you can't really go back. So we've been pretty successful. I think that we win the short conference this year. And, our goal is, for me, is to get to that Camden game and give them a fight. That's what I, want to do in my high school career. But we have a lot of young guys, a lot of inexperienced guys. But with that being said, there's no real expectation for us this year. At least people don't think that. We had our first game last night, and the chemistry was there. So I'm really excited. We have some, young freshmen and sophomores who can hoop. So I think they're gonna, shock the people a little bit.
So you're getting ready for your senior season, but going back to the Boston University commitment, we got a comment here. Coach Joe Jones, you mentioned him when you made your announcement on Instagram. What about him and the rest of the staff actually stuck out to you and made you want to go play there?
It's funny because I feel like this whole recruiting process, as other people who are getting recruited can agree with me, it's a love-hate process. It's a good problem to have. You love receiving those calls and getting those text messages and getting those offers, but it's stressful, because it's your future on the line. So I've had a lot of people doubt me in my life, and I'm a really good judge of character, I like to think. And I could just see in Joe Jones's eyes and his staff's eyes that they believed in me. They believed in me from the start. So that's honestly that's probably the biggest thing that stuck out to me this far. I'm just I'm really excited. He's a quality person. They're all quality people. So I just want to surround myself around those guys.
Totally. And Ben, you alluded to them just being quality people and being confident in you. And I'd venture to say a big part of that confidence that they have in you is not only your on court performance, but the stuff that you're doing after hours, electively, extracurricularly. What can you tell us about just work ethic in general? Your work ethic, like how important is that, and how significant has that been with respects to your journey?
I mean, it's been pretty crazy. I mean, ever since a young age, I've been in the gym from morning to night, and a lot of people are always like, "Why are you always playing basketball?" This was when I was young, and it was always just the love I had. I feel like people, the work, quote unquote, that people have to put in, I don't think people really love that process. It's more just like a job. Where I love that process. I love going to lift weights and getting stronger. I love going to get shots up, and I love going to skill work. I love playing pickup. So it's just, I mean, you have to put those hours in, but it's not going to work if you don't want to be there. And ever since I've been about 10 years old, I've always wanted to be in the gym. There's been no other place I wanted to be. And like I said, I mean, I'm I do a very good time at managing my time. Like I know what I need to get done, and I know when to have a little free time and have some fun. But I've been stuck in the gym for a while, and there's no other place I'd rather be.
And speaking of free time, you are able to visit Toledo, and you have the BU visit scheduled September 24th through the 26th. Is that still on the table for you?
So it was funny. So I didn't really put this out. So I came home from Toledo, and like I said, I value relationships, and shout out to those guys at Toledo. They are great people. They have a great program. So I got home from Toledo, and Coach Jones called me the next morning and was like, "How'd it go?" and this and that. And I think he thought I was feeling a little bit of pressure that I needed to make a decision sooner than later. So he was like, "Let me tell you what, we're gonna move your visit up. Get it out of the way sooner." And honestly, thank God it did, because I don't know how much longer I could have went on with this process. I had a lot of stress on my shoulders. But no, I'm not going at the end of the month, but I plan on getting up there for a home game once the season starts.
Fire. Ben, Mike, if you don't mind, I want to switch gears a little bit. We had a couple of questions that came in through
Absolutely.
the question channel. First one from Sean Murphy. Ben, and you've played a lot of competitive games in your day, but who was your hardest player you had to guard, and who played the toughest defense on you?
All right. Well, toughest defense. That's got to go to my guy Zakai from Immaculate Conception, now at Tennessee. That's the quickest kid I'm ever gonna come against. That's done. The toughest player I've ever had to play against, huh? I've played against some pretty good guys. I don't know if I have a top. I mean, Brian Antoine back in high school, that was different level. I played Dior Johnson back in 8th grade, but I think the best overall player, like versatility, athleticism, skill, I gotta go with my boy Derek. He's a draft pick next year, so yeah, definitely Derek.
Nice. Appreciate that. Let me see. I think that was the only one in there. So we can switch gears back to the formal process. Mike, did you have another one?
Yeah, so Justin was saying it earlier, the nickname Benny Boston already coming in after you committed the same night those nicknames were coming. How do you feel about the name Benny Boston?
I mean, I love it. That's I don't know it yet, but that's going to be home sooner than later. Hopefully, I can just live up to that name. That's the plan. So I gotta do some damage to keep that one sticking. So
Totally. And Ben, not to regress, but you alluded to, Derek being one of the more competitive matchups that you had. I was fortunate enough to be at that game and film that game where you guys pulled out the dub. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that was at the Virginia Southern Hoop Group
Yep.
Jam Fest.
Yep.
And you and Jaden, I mean, you guys, and it was no surprise. You guys had a handful of highlights over the summer. I remember the Pittsburgh Jam Fest where you guys kind of avenged your showcase game loss against Scholars, ended up beating them in the semifinals of the tournament. But did you find that, just by being able to play those competitive matchups this spring, against Scholars or against, Team Durant with, multiple top five guys on the court, did you find that to be like validating in any way in terms of like where you saw your game and, it just kind of all coming together?
Absolutely. I'm a firm believer of the players know players. So going against a kid like DJ or going against a kid like Derek, those are the best of the best. So it's like, all right, where do I stand against these guys? And me and my boy Jaden, I feel like we did a really good job of going out there and showcasing our talents. I know that I don't know where Jay's going to end up. I know it's going to be somewhere good. But yeah, definitely. It's great to play against those guys because you see where you land. You see, how good you really are and that you're really built for those moments. So I did, but I'm super confident in myself. I'm always going to say, I did good, but, they're definitely better though. So that's what I got to say.
Absolutely.
And Ben, you wrapped up your AAU career with Team Rio. There are a few comments asking what was playing on the circuit like. It was very competitive. You played some of the top players and teams in the country. What was the experience like for you?
I mean, it was great. Our first session in Under Armour, we did have a great weekend. We went 3-4, so we were kind of turning heads, not knowing what to do. And then we ended up winning 11 in a row, making it to the Final Four. And it was just a great experience. Last year I lost my session season. Me and Jaden were supposed to play up. So being able to get a real Under Armour session, full flying all over the place, it was awesome. Those are gonna be moments I'm gonna remember for the rest of my life.
Dope. And switching gears back to the Q&A from the people, we had a comment that came in from Sean Murphy again, and he said, what can you leave to the younger generation who love basketball and beyond? What advice can you leave them with?
I mean, it's simple. Stay true to yourself. Always believe in yourself. Block out all the noise. I feel like that's probably the most important trait to have when you're a little kid. And just continue to work. I mean, it shows. You work hard, it pays off. There's no secret to it. So, yeah.
Dope. And then one last question from the audience. I want to be mindful of your time. But a question that came from Dre Crudy. You spoke to some of the individual talent, that was more challenging over the course of your career. From a team perspective, best team you played against in high school?
In high school, I think that Roselle team, my sophomore year that we lost to, was the best. And AU, I think this year was KC Run GMC with like Grady Dick and Mark Mitchell. We ended up knocking them off in the Elite Eight. That was probably our best win of the year. We couldn't have played any better. So, yeah.
Excellent. And again, we're coming up on 20 minutes. I want to be mindful of your time. Ben, anything you want to leave the people with in terms of, last impressions or final words?
Well, I'm Ben Roy, and go be you.
You heard it straight from Benny Boston's mouth. Ben, appreciate you, and I'll probably be seeing you next Monday over in Neptune.
Definitely.
So we'll see each other soon.
Yep. Thanks so much, guys.
Absolutely. Appreciate you, Ben. We'll talk
You're
soon.
welcome. Have a good one. Bye.
And there you have it.
There you have it. Any reactions, remarks, thoughts?
Just glad that we got Ben Roy after the commitment. you heard it from him why Boston University is the right fit for him, and I think he's going to impress people not only in his senior season at Manasquan, but once he moves on to the college level, he's going to turn some heads.
Yeah, absolutely. No doubt in my mind. Again, he spoke to the matchup, or him and I spoke to the matchups against Scholars, Team Durant. And, in those games, you're talking about, DJ Wagner, the unanimous #1 player, Aaron Bradshaw, all the talent that the Scholars have, Dariq Whitehead, Judah Mintz from Team Durant. And again, he held his own. So I'm a big advocate for, reality. And the reality is that, he held his own and he can compete with the best of them. So definitely looking forward to catching Benny Boston in 2022 out in BU. But until then, we have him here in Jersey for another year. So this upcoming season should be an interesting one. Like I mentioned, we'll be covering Ben's games not only during the season but also this fall, both at showcases as well as the Hoop Group Fall League. So definitely looking forward to that. Like I mentioned earlier, Mike, fall ball is on and popping, so we'll have plenty of content for the people. And speaking of content, you've been doing a nice job whipping out those stories. More recently, you did the Elliot Cadeau and Zakai stories, both of which were received fairly well. And we've actually got another surprise that should be dropping tomorrow. So.
Gonna say, keep your eyes peeled on the insider section of njhooprecruit.com.
Absolutely, keep your head up and your eyes open. But with that being said, Mike, as always a pleasure. Another solid episode of Hoop Recruit Radio. Like I mentioned, we'll have some more editorial pieces authored by Mike on the website within the next 24 hours. And until our next interview, Mike, always a pleasure.
Yep, and I was gonna say, Justin, just if you're looking at the insider section, just if you're following Team Rio, you're gonna like these upcoming stories.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm already loving it, and it's still in the draft section of the website. So I think this one will definitely complete the trifecta of the first 3 stories. So
definitely.
But Mike, as always a pleasure, and we'll talk soon.
Yep. All right, that was good. You heard it from Ben Roy.
You heard it straight from the horse's mouth. But until next time, appreciate you guys tapping in. Justin Delaney, Mike Cerroti, NJ Hoop Recruit at Hoop Recruit Radio. Make sure you guys follow Mike at MSIROTY, both on Twitter and Instagram. Make sure you follow NJ Hoop Recruit on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. Make sure you follow the Hoop Recruit Radio page on Instagram. Make sure you got your eyes peeled to the insider tab of njhooprecruit.com. And I'd be remiss if I didn't call out the merch. Make sure you guys, while you're on njhooprecruit.com, make sure you get you some merch. But until then, Mike, have a good night, and we'll talk.
You too.
Take care.